James Robert Stephen. That's me. My parents couldn't decide on one first name, so they gave me three. James, derived from Latin meaning to replace. Robert, a bright beacon of light and shining. And Stephen, Greek word for royal headwear. So I guess my name can be summed up to be replace shiny crown. I guess my parents had high expectations for me. Over the next few minutes, I want you to listen. And I want you to laugh. I don't want any of you going away thinking, whoa, that kid has issues. I don't want to stand here going, oh God, please feel sorry for me! Because you shouldn't. I'm just here to tell funny stories, discuss issues I've had, issues other people have had, and to shine light on what would normally be a very dark and sensitive subject. Men, boys, lads, and gents, we're weird creatures, aren't we? From the dawn of, well, man, we've been taught by our male predecessors how to hunt, or how to and or if you're a creationist, you've been taught never to accept fruit from a woman. But somehow down the line, the connection between male adult and offspring has grown weaker. We aren't and don't even need to be taught how we used to. Hunting is now just a trip to Tesco's or a double click, and hers are now just... which I don't really see much difference, to be honest. And that isn't right. The word father or dad, to me, is just another title that you can give someone. Something that you can put on your CV, like a job. Hey, I just got the job as a builder. I can build you a house. I just got the job as a lawyer. I can get you out of jail. I just got the job as a father. I can constantly post pictures of my kid on Facebook. It's so cold and impersonal, ironically. But my dad, his name means handsome and good looking, and if you met him you would think that was a lie. He spends most of his time either snowboarding in some other country, golfing in some other country, or working in his office for an online casino company which I used to be a part of. My friends in passing always say that he's nothing like me, and I don't mean the fact that he's... well, he's bald, but he just doesn't do anything. I mean, we have this ongoing joke that all he ever does is stare and drink, like this. Because to them, that's all he ever does. My dad and his dad were very close. We would often go see his dad, or my granddad, in Botswana a couple of times a year. He loved his dad, which is probably why he took it so hard when he died. And now? Geez, I don't even get to see my dad a couple of times a year, and we live in the same house. If it's not about work or anything that I've done wrong, I don't see him or speak to him. If I'm sad, it's because neither of us can have a decent conversation with one another without one of us swearing at each other. So we don't bother. Car journeys and moments in passing are now filled with... You lot are now in on the joke with me and my friends about my dad, so don't tell him. There were more than a few times that I wished he was there and he wasn't. Or I wish he would help, and he would, but with a moan or a sigh. But there was this one pivotal moment that I finally understood our relationship. It was Christmas morning, and I woke up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ran downstairs to discover a sea of presents underneath the Christmas tree, including the one from my dad. My dad had gotten me a box of cereal for Christmas. A box of opened cereal. And I stood there and I just thought, well, that's just great. And of course there were good times too. Like, I guess most recently he'd gotten me the job at the online casino company. And to be fair, we hardly saw each other at work, and there were more things I could have done wrong for him to shout at me at, but hey, it's better than cereal, right? The word father figure is weird to define. If it's someone that you could look up to and help you with your problems, he wasn't it. I mean, could you imagine? Dad, I was having some issues with the girl at school. I was wondering if you could help me. So there were my friends. One friend in particular. Sam. That helped me through my problems. And I thank him so much. But he is not my father figure. Partly because I don't want to imagine him in a relationship with my mum, but mainly because I already have a father. The man living in the same house as me is my father. He has successfully gained the title of father. I am his son, ergo he is my father, but he is not my father figure. I don't have a father figure. I don't need a father figure. I don't need anyone to teach me how to shave or how to fix a car or about the birds and the bees. There are mechanics, teachers and porn videos to do that for me, and I'm not going to have an emotional connection to any of them. I've learned 3 things from my dad. Number 1, when you come home drunk, learn the difference between the back of the TV and the toilet. Number 2, one night I came downstairs and found my dad in the kitchen after a night at the pub, and he was eating something. And I said, "Dad, what are you eating?" And he said, "Butter." And I said, "Why are you eating butter?" And he said, "Well, I'm hungry, but I'm too drunk to cook." So I guess number 2, if you're hungry but too drunk to cook, there's always butter. And finally, number 3, if it bleeds, we can kill it. Which he learnt from the movie Predator, so I suppose Arnold Schwarzenegger taught me that one. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, James, stop bad-mouthing your dad. He raised you properly, didn't he? Well, yes. And no. And I mean, I love him. Of course I do, he's my dad. But I guess the reason why I'm so hard on him is because I'm not sure he feels the same way. So, if my dad was watching this, I'd say, are you proud of me? Do you like me? I know being a big, manly, rugby-playing South African and giving birth to a ice skating actor isn't exactly what you wanted. But I hope I make you proud. Do you spend hours in your office so that just for a second you can imagine you don't have kids? Do you drink to forget you made a mistake? I don't want a dad. I don't want a father. I want a friend. I want someone who I could talk to, someone I could tell dirty jokes with, someone to make home feel more homely. If I have kids, I'm going to be the coolest, best, most radical, do the kids still say radical?
No.
Radical parent ever. When my son Charlie, and yes, I already know the name of my hypothetical child, comes home from school and has any issues, he can talk to me. Anytime. And of course, I'll embarrass him from time to time. It's a parent's job to embarrass their kids. But I'll be my son's friend. I'll be my son's wingman. I'll be the dad that when my son's friends go home, they'll say, "I wish my dad was like Mr. Stephen."